Story 1. I count myself incredibly fortunate to be able to make friends easily. I always have, even as a young child. Story 2. For some reason, I am very good at getting people to talk about very personal things. I don't even do it on purpose, but I really do love it. I've had random strangers tell me deeply personal stories or share their trauma while shopping at the mall or waiting in line at the grocery store. My husband says I just have a safe space vibe, so people feel comfortable around me. I really do enjoy it because I am very curious. Even if I never see this person again, I get some random information, and that person gets to let out whatever they needed to talk about. It's pretty cool. Story 3. My brain creates entire movies at night with proper pacing, plot twists, and unique themes and styles. People in real life think I am lying, so I no longer share this. I write down the best ones. Story 4. Baking is interesting because I still do not know how to scramble an egg, but if you want anything baked from scratch, I can do it. Story 5. Anything that involves rhythm. Toured professionally as a drummer, but dancing and similar activities come very easily. Story 6. High school mathematics. I am very active on the various Reddit mathematics help subreddits. Story 7. I am very good at estimating time and numbers. I always start walking with my left foot and sometimes overcooked chicken. Story 8. I, as a child, did not see myself as a competitive person until I found a sport that I am really good at. I can hold my breath for 6 minutes, and suddenly I was on the national team. I became competitive. It is a funny transition. Apparently, my easygoing nature was because I always lost at sports. Story 9. I am naturally good at many things. I dislike that because I am not exceptional at anything and may never find a passion or something I can make money from. Story 10. Understanding what someone is saying and explaining it to others in simple and clear terms. Restating arguments. Listening. Identifying flawed reasoning and contradictions. I teach political science to college students. Story 11. I am pretty good at reading people's moods. I can usually tell when something is off, even if they do not say it. Story 12. I am good at studying but do not have any special abilities. Story 13. I am great at being good at nothing. I wink at you with both eyes. Story 14. Give me any food you can think of. I can turn it into waste. Story 15. To fail. By the way, it is by making mistakes that you learn. Story 16. I am very good at cooking and cleaning up after myself in the kitchen. Story 17. Breathing. I am very skilled at it. I might be the best, but I am not sure. Either way, I know I am excellent at it. Story 18. Listening to people and not giving my opinion on how I would fix it. Story 19. Opening the refrigerator and instantly forgetting what I was looking for. Common forgetfulness problems. Story 20. Imitating bird chirps with my mouth closed drives people crazy because they cannot figure out where it is coming from when I am careful. Story 21. Hurt people are drawn to me and will randomly start conversations with me. Catches me off guard since I am introverted. Strangers quickly share things I think a therapist should hear. Over time, I have learned to go with it and not make a big deal. They need to vent, and if they see something in me that makes them feel safe and validated, then I welcome it to a degree. I wish I knew what they see because it happens incredibly often. Story 22. This probably sounds simple, but I am really good at starting conversations with complete strangers. Give me 5 minutes, and we will be discussing the importance of art in spiritual living. Story 23. I'm pretty good with my hands. Like most crafts I've tried, I have been able to pick them up relatively quickly. I am decent at creative problem solving too. My issue is my inability to actually commit to things. Story 24. Procrastinating. I am currently delaying starting my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder medication. Story 25. Explaining complicated information in plain English and staying calm when everything is urgent. Story 26. I can deliver babies. I have delivered about 900 with very few problems, so I must be pretty good at it. Story 27. Getting 0 likes on all the dating applications. I am basically a professional. That is how good I am at it. Story 28. making a piece of junk into a beauty. I have also been known to enter a home that has no food and create a nice meal out of their limited supplies. When I shop for home decor, I shop with an open mind. Many times I have found an item that I love but is the wrong color. If possible, I buy it and repaint it, whether with spray paint or a detail brush, to match the color theme in a particular room. I have taken small wooden palettes and made artful creations out of them by painting and adding items that bring happiness. I love recreating. Story 29. Taking charge during an emergency. I am not qualified to be a first responder, but I am confident enough to direct people and delegate tasks that need to be done. Story 30. Music. I am self-taught in every instrument I play, which is about 10 instruments, and I understand music theory perfectly. Story 31. Returning reusable food containers. People send me home with some leftovers, and I bring those back good as new. Story 32. Sprinting. I cannot sustain my pace for long, but I can burst out running very fast. Story 33. Singing and creating a safe space for people to open up. Story 34. Throwing objects close to other objects. Every time I play a game that involves tossing something close to a target, such as bocce, cornhole, or darts, people assume that I play often. I do not, ever. For some reason, I naturally understand how objects move when they are tossed. Story 35. Guessing and reading people. I am better at guessing the right answer than most people who know the right answer. I am also very good at reading people in specific areas. I intuitively know what they want to hear and how they want to hear it. I am skilled at making them think I came up with the solution, while all I did was rephrase and summarize information they already knew. It is a curse. Story 36. Dogs love me. Ill-tempered little bastards, massive death machines, clever shepherds, stupid lapdogs. They all think I'm the bee's knees. Story 37. Analyzing people with empathy and careful observation, I can easily understand how they work. Story 38. Language syntax and grammar. I am a native English speaker and can read dense legal textbooks without much thought, but I also learned Mandarin relatively easily. Story 39. Lying is unfortunate, but in my youth I realized it and used it. Caused me a lot of grief later in life. Story 40. Nothing. Since I was a baby, I have had to learn everything I know. Story 41. Assuming the worst and making people think that I am their therapist. Story 42. Napping. I can squeeze in a 5-minute nap before a meeting to get refreshed or lay my head down on a desk for 15 minutes as a siesta after a heavy lunch. Then there are car naps and plane naps where I fall asleep while taxiing and wake up at landing. There are also naps in the playpen while my daughter plays. The list goes on. Story 43. Spatial awareness. I can parallel park like nobody's business. Story 44. Despite being profoundly deaf, my musical ear is quite good. I can pick up parts of songs easily. I worked on it. It did not come easily, and there are still some things that stump me. Story 45. Making people open up can lead to moments of realization where they wonder what they have shared. I am a very open, loving, attentive, and non-judgmental person. Story 46. I am a good listener, whether in school, at work, or overhearing conversations. Story 47. I am very active but a larger person. Somehow, I am really good at activities that require physical coordination, such as bowling, soccer, football, skating, ice skating, skiing, and activities involving hand-eye coordination. Story 48. Volume and sizing. If you give me leftovers, I can always pick the right size container, or give me a size and I can measure it out perfectly like photo framing. Story 49. Para poder leer un libro de más de 800 páginas en un día y después no poder leer uno de 100 páginas en 3 meses. Problemas de lectores. Story 50. Nothing. I have no natural talent. I had to work for everything I know. Story 51. It is amazing how many of these natural skills are really about other people. Being able to make someone laugh or feel at ease is such an underrated superpower in daily life. It honestly creates a better environment for everyone involved. We need more of that. Story 52. Percentages. Terrible at math, but ask me a percentage of a number and I'll work it out faster than my friends with math degrees. Story 53. Armpit flatulence. No one can beat me. I challenge anyone to compete with me. Story 54. Being anxious, experiencing anxiety, overthinking things, assuming people think I'm strange, sitting on the couch, not acting on my ideas, and dwelling in apathy. Story 55. Pattern recognition and applying that to behavior. I can tell if someone is a good person in about a 3 to 5 minute conversation. Story 56. Cooking. For example, I am trying to make the English meat pie for the first time, and the meat I am cooking for the filling literally melts in my mouth. Story 57. Problem solving. Give me any problem, and I will trace it to its roots and provide at least 3 viable solutions that no one will ever enact because they require changing everything too much. Story 58. Making people believe whatever nonsense I make up on the spot. I do not actually mean to do this. I just make up stories and people believe me. I made my little sister believe Parmesan cheese smelled bad because it was made of pig dandruff. I once told my pastor that the word luggage was not in the dictionary. He was shocked, so I told him I was joking. I then said it was in the dictionary, but it simply said sea baggage. And he believed me. I once convinced my college-educated cousin that we get sick in winter because cold air spontaneously breeds germs. At no point did I expect any of these people to believe me, but they all had to be told I was joking. My poor sister, being a child at the time, believed people ate pig dandruff on their spaghetti for years, and I never even realized. Story 59. Wasting time. I guess a lot of us do not even need to train for that. Story 60. My inability to understand subtle jabs and taunts. Unless someone says something to my face directly, I will not take a hint. Story 61. Being patient. There are very few situations that really upset me. Otherwise, we are all just living. Story 62. Once upon a time in high school, I was being tested for depression and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder after mentioning my abilities. After a few evaluations, my general practitioner referred me to a psychologist. Turns out I am just very good at spacing out when I am bored. Story 63. I am clumsy and bad at everything I do. Seriously. Give me something to cut with scissors and it will end up choppy and uneven. Give me something to count and even with a calculator I will blunder. Give me something to draw and it will be wonky. Give me something to write and I will be about as great as if a 2-year-old wrote it. Give me a race to compete in and I will finish last, yet be the most breathless. I know from experience. Don't even get me started on memory and confusing one thing for another. Story 64. Working with any architectural or engineering software without prior knowledge can be challenging. I started with AutoCAD and realized I had a natural ability to draft. Then I moved to Revit and began learning mechanical, electrical, and plumbing design, quickly becoming proficient. I was told I have a natural ability. Now I am learning Civil 3D for electrical engineering using AutoCAD and have already taught myself skills that surprised others, as most people experience a learning curve with this software. Story 65. The way I go through life is seemingly without purpose. I am naturally good at being naturally good at nothing. Story 66. It is sad that I am 32 and have no idea what I am naturally good at. Yes, I pick up the energy of the room and people's moods, but I would rather not. Story 67. Communication, writing, agility, balance, simplifying, adapting. Story 68. Programming. I can even do it while being sick, intoxicated, or under the influence. Story 69. I am naturally good at being myself. There is no one better at being me than I am. Story 70. Useless life skill. I am probably in the top 0.001% of whistlers. I have perfect pitch, really good technique, and have yet to meet anyone in real life with better whistling skills. I have seen maybe 3 or 4 people on video that I would say are better than me. I have met nobody in real life who can out-whistle me. I will be in the grocery store with the background music playing, and I will be whistling along without even thinking about it. Strangers often stop me to say they've never heard whistling that good in person before. It's what I get for casually whistling nonstop for more than 25 years after spending my whole childhood studying piano, trumpet, and voice. I might sign up for the World Whistling Championships someday in my 50s just for fun. Story 71. I am skilled in logical rigor, evaluating the logical coherence of arguments to an intense degree. I excel at understanding complex and mathematical abstractions and applying them creatively, sometimes to an obsessive level. I also have a strong interest in spiritual practice with varying abilities, gifted in some areas but challenged in others, such as with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I am proficient in most academic subjects and good at giving life advice, even if I do not always follow it myself. Story 72. Instantly and accurately judging a person's mood or emotions is what kept me safe as a child, and is now what I consider to be my superpower. Story 73. Riding horses and caring for children and animals. Also, I am basically a human calculator. Story 74. Giving public speeches and presentations, even improvised ones. I have never had fear of it. I was always completely comfortable on stage, and it helped me a lot in high school. However, I have also worked to improve quite a bit, so I am not sure if it is entirely natural. Story 75. Literally nothing. I spent all my teen years not being afraid of trying new things because I thought everyone was naturally good at least one thing. Turns out the only thing I am good at is drugs. Honestly though, I have done a lot of them, know how to do them, and I am fairly knowledgeable on the subject. Even the process of going to Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous I can tell you all about. I go once a week even though I still do drugs. Story 76. I don't really know. I have a strong work ethic. I'm not a workaholic, but I do what I am told to the best of my ability. I hold myself to decent standards. Many employers tend to be surprised by my work ethic. Story 77. I have many friends who come to me with their problems. They say, "Don't tell anyone." I say to them, "I have so many secrets in my head, I don't remember who told me what." Story 78. Knowing or having a meme for various situations. My boyfriend is so accustomed to this that if I reach for my phone mid-conversation, he assumes it is to show him a relevant meme. Story 79. Learning words and combining them based on meaning, assonance, rhyme, and rhythm. Repeating sounds and impressions. Essentially autistic echolalia refined to a high level thanks to music college. Story 80. For some reason, people tend to confide in me a lot of personal things. It is weirder when you take into account that I am in my early 20s and most of my friends are older than me. Even the youngest ones are in their late 20s. I suppose I am just a good listener, at least. Story 81. Knowing enough about many topics to fit in with almost any group of people and carry a conversation. Story 82. Piecing together seemingly unrelated pieces of information. I see connections. Story 83. School is really good at helping retain information and then forgetting it after the final exam. It is all about optimizing memory space. Story 84. Languages. I learned 2 new languages to a professional level after age 30. One with no formal instruction at all, just speaking it with my partner and in the workplace, and later moving to the country where it is spoken. The other with a single week of total immersion. For full disclosure, the second one was Dutch compared to my German mother tongue, so not that big a feat. Story 85. Listening without the intention to reply. People I have never met tell me things. Children who do not talk to anyone come up to me and introduce themselves. Story 86. Isolation. I like spending time with people but have never had an issue being alone. Every time people say that individuals go crazy in isolation, I think they are mistaken. I can easily sit in a silent room for weeks without any problem. Story 87. My endurance is pretty impressive. I can go for long, fast-paced walks with a little jogging mixed in during 110-degree heat and be mostly fine, as long as I drink plenty of water first and rehydrate properly afterward. I can bicycle 18 miles with a 20-pound backpack just on a whim and still be absolutely fine. According to most people I know, I am no longer allowed to decide if a destination is close enough to walk to, nor am I allowed to have an opinion on whether it is hot outside. My opinions on these matters differ dramatically from others. Story 88. I am really good at reading nonverbal communication and noticing when people are not being authentic or truthful. This skill developed due to being hypervigilant from past trauma and having to develop survival skills at a very early age. It is both a curse and a blessing, but mainly a blessing because it helps me guide conversations to a place where others can be vulnerable if they choose. I try not to judge and see it as an opportunity for genuine connection with people. The hardest and most frustrating times are when people let their ego get in the way of being honest with themselves and others. However, this ability also helps me avoid narcissism and psychopathy. It is a good thing as long as I do not get triggered into calling them out or engaging in reactive conflict. Story 89. Singing and learning songs. I can learn a song in an hour or two. I am always surprised when people think it is unreal because it is so easy for me. I have also been told by everyone that I sing incredibly well. All of my choir teachers said the same and always used me as an example or to tune the choir. They gave me all the solos, which was fine with everyone in the choir because they thought solos belonged to me as I was considered the best singer. Story 90. Having the memory of a goldfish with Alzheimer's. No, not literally, for you biology enthusiasts. Story 91. Studying, I suppose. More importantly, being able to organize my workload based on the tasks I have. Story 92. I can pretty much cook whatever. When it comes to meats, I make sure to research the right and safe cooking temperature. Other than that, I can usually figure out how to make anything as long as I have a vague idea of what is in it. My friends always ask me for my recipes and how I learned, and my answer is always I do not know. Story 93. Really good at estimating by eye, such as portioning food or measuring ingredients. I can get the measurements very accurate just by using my sight. Story 94. Mimicking people. When someone is talking, I can repeat what they are saying with almost no delay. Can sound like we are talking at the exact same time. Not a very useful skill, but good for annoying my wife. Story 95. Speaking to people, I have enough confidence to approach strangers and start a conversation. Story 96. Making myself approachable to the point that complete strangers will stand near me in stores and share their life stories. Being able to copy things with impressive accuracy. If I watch someone do something that interests me, I can observe them and then replicate it with remarkable success and precision. If I can't figure something out, I will thoroughly reverse engineer it until I do. Interacting with children. For some reason, likely due to my neurodivergence, I know exactly how to engage children, and they naturally gravitate toward me. I made such an impact on a group of children at a summer camp once without even trying that the rest of the staff said, "If we ever don't know where these specific children are, we just go looking for you. They're usually nearby." Story 97. Learning languages. I grew up learning both Dutch and French, so it was fairly easy to learn English and German. Now I am challenging myself by learning both Spanish and Greek. Story 98. Public speaking. As long as I have a rough idea, I can come up with something decent. I am usually pretty good at impromptu speeches as well, such as at birthdays or similar events. Story 99. I am good at messing things up, like really good. Joke aside, I am pretty creative in finding solutions and optimizing systems. Story 100. Having ideas. Now I have to learn how to make them real. Also, here's a strange one. I'm really good with stories. When I was younger, my mother did some acting and sometimes took me to the theater. Word has it I traumatized her actor friends because of my ability to predict the plot of the story. I still try to do it now when I watch movies, and I am always a few details short of guessing the whole thing. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.